let's begin. Welcome everyone to the July meeting of the Saginaw City Planning Commission. If you are here to present a case, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and make a presentation. We may ask you questions for clarity or for more information. A simple majority vote of the members present will decide on your request. Excuse me. If you're here to speak to the public comment phase of the meeting, also please come to the podium. Again, give your name and address, direct your comments to the commission. We do not have a time limit, but we do appreciate brevity. And we'll allow Fred to get to the table before we call the roll. And since he is now here, Mr. Faust, if you would, roll call. Here.
Nightingale.
Present.
Nash. Hanley.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
Taggett. Caloris. I'd like to tell you that Mr. Caloris resigned from council yesterday. And so he's no longer a member of this board either.
So that does automatically take him from...
Yes, because he's a council appointee.
Right.
So that means you're going to get another council appointee.
Right.
And just as a reminder, we do still need one more member, because when Mr. Flores is replaced, that only brings us back up to 8. So we should all bear in mind, if you can think of anyone who you think would be a good candidate for this board, we should encourage them to apply for it. So moving on, we have minutes of our last meeting, which goes all the way back to February. We have the minutes here. I have read them over quickly. Are there any changes, additions, corrections from anyone? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved. Support.
Been moved and supported. Any further discussion on minutes? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So we come to our public comment phase. If there's anyone here, Mr. Faust, am I right that this portion is the public hearing also, or do we wait? Or do we do it now?
No, you can wait and do your public comment. You can follow the agenda. And then the second case is a public hearing.
Okay.
Okay. So at that point, you just call a public hearing to order.
So our point on the agenda now would be for general public comment
Correct.
of anything. If you're here for one of the cases, that comes a little later. All right. We'll continue then with the first case, number 160020, site plan approval for parking lot on South Mason. If there is someone here to speak to that, and it looks like it's Mr. Bergman.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Jerry Bergman. My office is at 515 North Woodbridge here in Saginaw. And a corporation by the name of SST, Limited Liability Corporation, has purchased not only the Court Theater itself, but they've purchased the lot that I presume that you have plans in front of you. That used to be owned by Major Cords across the street on Mason. And he would like to develop a parking lot in that lot that the theater could use. His plans for the theater are to develop or to do the digital, I don't understand all of that, the digital movie presentations versus the old film type presentations.
What every movie theater needs to be today, I guess, right?
Yes, yes. So along with that, along with the parking lot, he's proposing that entirely a new facade be put on the building to freshen it up, clean it up. It has kind of fallen in repair over a period of a lot of years. And we've also proposed to do some interior renovations in the lobby area primarily. There is a stage there for different type of live performances. The concession stand ultimately in the lobby is going to be removed, and it's going to be rebuilt in the very entrance part of the theater area, so that it gives more room in the lobby, a little more spaciousness, and just the whole theater is going to take on a new appearance. We're working on all of those issues right now. The first one would be the parking lot, but I also have, if the commission would like, I could give you an idea of what a new facade would look like that hopefully would help fill up this parking lot. If I could approach, I can give you some
That's fine, yes.
drawings and pictures. These are photographs of what the theater looks like now. If you look real close at it, you'll notice that some of those porcelain panels are cracked, broken. They've been replaced with plywood panels that are badly weathered, deteriorated. It just does not look good. So then what is being proposed is a whole new facade. Make everything look fresh, new, and clean, and compete with entertainment centers that are on the market. And I guess basically that's a quick rundown of what is being proposed. The idea is that the parking lot and the facade be done yet this year. Of course, that depends on, I know that the asphalt contractors are extremely busy with road work and other projects going on. So there's a lot of things that have to get organized yet this year if it's going to be done this year, but that is the new owner's goal, to get that part of it done this fall.
Questions from anyone? Yes.
Did you hear from engineering?
No, I did not. Before I left the week before last, I had emailed them and said, please respond to Jerry and to me, and I had no response from them. So everything that you do as far as a motion would be contingent on engineering approval. I know that Mr. Bergman has spoken with engineering. Jerry, please go to the microphone.
I've been in the engineering department 3 times discussing this whole program, and I think they're in agreement that they would like to see it go. I guess I don't have a explanation as to why there was no response.
I have one question. On the site plan of the parking lot itself, there is to be a one-way entrance off Court Street. Do we know that that's an entrance only, in other words?
Yes,
Is that
and the
right?
reason for the one-way is because that approach is already there, and it was the approach to an alley a long time ago. When the old buildings burnt, I guess at that point, the city split the alley in half and deeded half the alley to one property owner and half the alley to the other property owner. So really, this property owner's approach is only 1 lane wide. So that, and the approach coming in off of Mason would be both an entrance and an exit approach. The one off of Court Street would be an entrance to the parking lot that the patrons would have to exit onto Mason. But once they get on Mason, then they're right there at the Court Street corner, and then go either way.
Excuse me, at the current time, the entrance off Court Street, if I saw this correctly, on the west edge of that old vacated alley, there are a number of posts.
They will all be removed.
Okay, those posts are on this property that you're presenting to us today?
Yes.
Okay.
All of those guard posts are totally on this property, and that's probably one of the first things that'll come out.
Okay.
What's proposed as far as lighting for the parking lot?
There is lighting proposed. That detail has not been totally resolved yet between the owner and Consumers Energy, but on the back property line, about in the middle of the parking lot, there will be a light post that be a shoebox type light fixture that will illuminate this parking lot and this parking lot only. All of the other lighting is on the street already. Right there on the corner, you can see that power pole. That power pole that's there is really a street light.
Any further questions about this case? Do you have an estimate of timing on the parking lot itself?
Well, if it is approved, we're going to put it out for bids right away and see if we can lock up some contractors.
So it'll depend on contractors.
Yes, to do it yet this year.
I have to confess, I do want them out paving streets. I think everybody in the city would agree with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of streets need paving.
But it will be very good to see this theater come back to life, too, for sure.
What about drainage?
Right now, that entire, both sites are drained by a catch basin that was obviously installed by the city in the old alleyway, and it was right in the center line of the alleyway. That catch basin is split in half at this point by the property line. So what we are proposing is a new catch basin in the parking lot, just draining into that catch basin, and then it drains to the city municipal sewer system.
Infrastructure.
Any further questions for Mr. Bergman? If not, we will entertain a motion on this case.
Now, we are simply concerned with the parking lot tonight, correct?
Yes. Any further questions or comments? And we have a motion on this case.
I'll submit a motion to approve case number 160020, their parking lot at 110 South Mason. Let me think. We're going to give them some time to complete that, because we normally give 6 months completion, so the completion date by the end of the year, I'm sure that'll be sufficient, correct? Mr. Bergman?
By January 1st,
January 1st?
2017.
Well, unfortunately, the last thing as far as the parking lot is concerned would be the paving. And the paving typically has to be done before it gets much frost in the ground, and usually the cutoff date is November 5th.
So we're giving you a little extra time, just in case weather permits you to go up to the...
Really, to pave it would be between now and to November
What,
15th, not to January 1st.
I understand that, but that's giving you a little bit more time to get it done.
Yeah, we would
Okay.
like to have a little more time in case we don't get it.
How much time would you want?
Yeah.
How long would you want it for?
I didn't hear you.
How long would you want it for? When,
Oh, well, usually the 1st of May, if we can't get it done by the 15th of November, the 1st of May is when the asphalt plants fire back up again.
So are you
that's-
telling us the end of May of next year?
The end of May of 2017.
2017, okay. All right, let me restate that, okay?
Please do.
Good thing that we clarified that now, because,
We will
Mr.
make every
Zerber,
effort to
also
do it as fast as we
engineering
can.
approval.
yeah, okay. All right. All right, let me restate that now, okay? Oh, Lord. I motion to approve case number 160020, and this is contingent on engineering's approval, that we approve the parking lot at 110 South Mason, and we're going to give a completion date of the end of May of 2017.
Motion's been made. Do I hear support?
support.
Been moved and supported that we approve this case with conditions stated. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir.
You're welcome.
Our next case is 160021, approval for a beauty shop in an RO1 district at 3065 Davenport.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Connie Finkbeiner. I've been the owner and operator of Strand Salon for the last nearly 13 years. September 1st would be my anniversary date. I'm currently operating inside Kochville Township, inside the Myers. I'm asking special permission to change the zoning so I can have the salon at 3065 Davenport. I'm currently getting estimates finalized for building renovation and awaiting for approval dates from a bank loan closing. Our base of clients is primarily Saginaw County, and this location would not only be easy access off of 675, but for our other clients coming in from Hemlock, Midland, Freeland, and surrounding areas, be very convenient. I'd like to bring a thriving business into the city limits and retain the employees that I have, not necessarily looking to grow and expand. I understand the location, the parking would be limited, and I run more like appointments only rather than a doctor's office where they're lined up waiting around the door. I hope to have everything completed by the end of October, including the cosmetology board inspection, and open for business November 1st if approved. Thank you.
Do I have any questions about this case?
I do have a question. Do we have the city okaying parking spaces for this, or?
Yes, she will have to mark the spaces. I believe that there was space for 7 parking spaces within the lot itself, and then there was an additional space on the other side of the building. And that is adequate. Even though she has 4 chairs, there's only going to be 2 employees
at any time.
at any one time. So that meets the parking requirements.
All right. What are your hours of operation?
Typically, Monday through Friday would be 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., and Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., with a few variations depending on the situation. Usually closed on Sundays.
And what kind of signage would you have? What kind of signage would you have?
I spoke with Mike about the existing sign out front, and it meets requirements, so once I get the wording approved, I believe I would use that.
The RO1 district is limited to 25 square feet, and the sign out front is slightly less than that.
What is in that building now?
It's empty currently. It was an insurance office.
Okay.
How many people will be working here?
Technically, I employ 4. I have a part-time receptionist, a full-time stylist, myself, which is a full-time stylist, and I have 1 part-time maintenance miscellaneous, but he does most of the things outside of work for marketing. So typically, there would be no more than 1 stylist and 1 key holder in the building at any time.
Just to clarify, she had asked for rezoning. It's not a rezoning. It's a hairstylist in a RO1 district requires special approval from the planning commission.
So to clarify, it's permitted, but with
With
special.
special approval.
This would kind of be like a big tall building with a, it is with all some other things in it, correct? Correct.
I believe I gave you an email I received from one person, and that was the only person that I heard from. I heard from 2 others that just asked what it was about, but had no comments. The gentleman that sent the email said he really wasn't opposed. He just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that situation as far as traffic there.
To stay with that for a minute, he's got a, sounds like to me, a fairly serious concern about the traffic. Do you have any more thoughts on his concern? Is it
Well, you
not
know,
that bad, is it?
I don't
What
think
do you
it's
think?
that bad. I mean, it's a busy street, but that's where you find your retail and your businesses are on busy streets. It's no different than turning into any other parking lot.
Okay, so,
I know that he also mentioned possibly banning parking on Blackmore.
Mhm.
That would have to go through engineering. They do a survey in the area. It's a process that would probably take 6 months for them to look at that.
But his concern seems to be based on the assumption that clientele and employees would be parking on Blackmore.
And
That's not likely from what I'm hearing.
No, there's enough parking in the parking lot itself and with that additional space on the other side of the building for employee and customer parking. I mean, you can't prevent somebody from parking on Blackmore, but there is enough parking in that lot to meet the city
the
requirements.
additional space on the other side is where? Does that
It's off
show
Blackmore.
on our,
It shows on the aerial map.
is that, what exactly?
See that little area on the other side of the building from the parking lot, and then it has a sidewalk going up to
Right there,
the
Jim.
door?
Just right there,
Oh, yeah, okay.
it's off Blackmore.
It comes in off of Blackmore.
That is
Yeah.
large enough for a
Here's the-
parking space.
here's the
And
back-
other
here's the
comes in
back
off
parking
of-
lot.
Off of Davenport.
The building faces
Yeah.
Blackmore.
Yeah, I've got it.
I guess
Oh, I
if I
see.
were the owner, I'd be parking there.
That's the plan.
No one parks.
So, you are satisfied about any parking issue
Yes,
connected?
it does meet the requirements.
Do we have someone else here to speak on this?
Yeah, my name is David Guzman. I own a property at 3102 State Street. Basically, my opposition to it is the actual surface of Blackmore is actually very poor right now, and that's going to increase the volume of traffic on that particular roadway. Not to mention, there are many other businesses right in that intersection with the Case Management, All Smiles Dental, Corrigan Oil, Yo and Yo, and I think that about sums up that area right there for businesses. And so the safety of the children crossing the roadway there might be in jeopardy as well as far as what could possibly,
Well, isn't it true, though, that access to her parking lot, people would not be coming down Blackmore? They would have to come down from the on Davenport, east on Davenport, or heading west on Davenport.
Right, but I'm assuming that there's going to be people that probably turn onto Blackmore. And, with appointments being what appointments are, people trying to make times, adding that to the, you know, the local traffic already from the
But
elementary school.
isn't Yo and Yo gonna move though?
I believe they are moving.
They are moving,
They are
yes.
moving, so
Right.
you're gonna lose like 100 cars out of there.
I believe, yeah, they have 120 plus employees, I believe, there.
Yeah.
So
But Blackmore is not a through street.
Blackmore
stops and it
links
curves over to
between
Peel.
State Street and Davenport, though.
Goes from state to Weiss.
Or to
Correct.
Weiss, excuse me,
Correct.
but.
So that was my
Blackmore,
only
you're
concern.
right.
I just
I'm thinking
know
about
how
Blackmore,
busy it
sorry.
is there every morning, and you cannot make a left turn the way
But
that it stands.
I don't think this business opens until 9 o'clock in the morning. At that point, I would think the children are in school. I think the school starts
I
probably.
believe it starts at around 8:30.
Yeah, so,
But you still have a lot of traffic, even people who drop off and leave later, too. So I'm going to say right up until probably a quarter after 9, it's still pretty busy in that intersection. But that's my only thoughts on it, so.
Thank you.
all right.
I was gonna say something, some representative next to him.
You have to get up there.
You have to get
And
out.
that
You have to state your name and where you live.
Linda Lujan.
I live next to him I live on Blackmore, between State and Davenport. I don't see much of a problem there since I know she's not gonna have many people there. The only other problem that I was thinking was the kids, but that's during school, and she's gonna be opening up after they go, but there's still a lot of traffic there. The road right now it's crumbling on, kind of on our side, isn't it? It's falling apart. I mean, the people that are literally zooming across Davenport when they get out, you know, like at 3 o'clock-ish, it's a nightmare. They go around the holes, so anybody coming around State Street onto Blackmore, I'm just waiting for something to hit out there, but that's the only problem, you know, and I know there might be some people, you know, parking on Blackmore, but that won't be many if she's only got a certain clientele, so.
Okay, but you say you live between State and Davenport.
Yep, I live on Blackmore, around the corner
Blackmore
from,
between State and Davenport.
yeah, State and Davenport.
Okay.
And of course, they can't turn right onto Davenport, but then they can park in the street, as I said, there's gonna be limited people there, so that's the only concern.
I would think that most of the people going to her business are gonna stay on the main road, but Mike.
You
cut
can think
over
that,
through-
but you gotta spend one day on there when school's in season and you see a whole different world, but anyway.
And I understand that, but you know, about
That's
the
all.
condition of the road, you should be contacting engineering and making
Yeah.
numerous complaints about that. Maybe they'll get it fixed.
Yeah, I don't know,
Or street.
I'm up there one day, but that's not bad enough yet, 'cause there's a lot of worse streets, so then
I understand
it's gonna
that.
be a worse street though, pretty soon, there's lots of accidents, but hey,
But you
that's
know,
it for them.
we're not talking about a volume of 100 customers coming.
Right,
to business
exactly,
a
that's just,
day.
and she's taking care of that, so I guess I just worried about the intersection being such
And
chaos
actually,
during.
you're gonna have less congestion once Joe and Joe close up.
Yeah,
There's one other thing too that really makes that.
Please come to the microphone.
You have to go to the microphone.
There's one other thing that makes that intersection dangerous, and that is people who turn from Kempton Elementary's parking lot area, and they usually travel, you know, obviously they're heading west, but they're usually cutting across all 3 lanes in order to turn onto Blackmore Street, and that usually causes a lot of accidents at that intersection too, so you do have that. And I don't know if it would be possible to even make it so that you couldn't make a right turn from there, or specify with some kind of signage to only be in the first lane.
That's
when
to
you
talk to
turn.
engineering.
Yeah, you could make that very proposal to the engineering department.
Okay, because I mean, that is what really makes it dangerous, is,
Yeah.
I mean,
And that's a
it's-
problem that's ongoing, completely separate from what we're talking about.
Right,
tonight,
right,
so.
yes.
If you think it's a real issue, I would not hesitate to
Contact.
bring it to their attention.
Exactly. So you're really not opposed to the actual business of it? Okay, all right.
Not now.
All right. Okay.
Well, I just have a couple of things. Actually, although Yo and Yo is moving out, we certainly hope somebody else moves in.
Yeah, exactly.
So we should not count on that always being empty. I hope it's not always empty. I hope it's not empty the next day.
When did it leave, you know?
That's been in the paper. I don't
I didn't
recall the
missed
date.
that one.
And the traffic issues here certainly are separate from the business issue we're talking about tonight. So again, just, I'll state it generally, if there are traffic issues anywhere that you're concerned about, the best thing to do is bring it to the attention of the city. And, yeah, we have potholes everywhere.
Yeah.
One of the biggest ones
Congress.
is one I drive on every day. That's, of course, just my opinion. Everybody has their own choice for that. Are there any further questions or comments about this case? If not, I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Support?
Did you want to state your motion?
The motion is that we approve.
You want to clarify?
I'll support it.
All right, I'm going to assume it
It's
is,
case 160021. I make a motion that we support the beauty salon at this address. And anything related to engineering or the traffic would have to be referred to the engineering department, because our specific goal was specifically zoning of the business itself. The street, the traffic has nothing to do with this board.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll jump on our problems.
Well,
It's
we'll
been
listen to
moved.
them.
and supported.
Support it.
Any further questions? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So we come to old business. Do we have any old business, Mr.
Oh, I'm
Fowler?
sure he has some old business.
I guess we could consider this old business.
I have two things.
Although it's something new. The master plan and actually zoning as far as form-based code, we have hired LSL Planning to help us write a form-based code for the Riverfront Mixed-Use District. They are asking that we have a joint meeting sometime the first or second week of August with the Riverfront Commission and with representatives from the Downtown Saginaw Association and the Old Town Association. So we're trying to work that out. There aren't any dates at this point, but I'd like to make you aware of that, and as soon as I know of any times, I'll let you know. We're looking at probably 4 to 6 in the afternoon. That's what LSL would request.
Where are they from?
They're out of Royal Oak.
And when you said they're requesting a joint meeting and it's about Riverfront, so the connection to the master plan is what?
Well, it's just that the master plan talks about the riverfront
Yes,
area,
right.
and the form-based code would
Okay.
affect that riverfront area.
So we are
So,
appropriately part of that
and
discussion.
it's part of the recommendation that came out of the Michigan Municipal League when Luke Forrest came and spoke with you. It was one of his recommendations in that report.
The report was for the Place Plan Initiative, as well as the city becoming a redevelopment ready city. So it's part of that certification as well.
Do we have anything on the update of the master plan itself?
No, we do not.
We have been in contact with
I was going to ask you next.
Michigan State University. I've yet to hear back from individuals there. The city manager is aware of it. We've been having some conversations with Mayor Pro Tem Clark. He's had mentioned or asked about it. We just haven't heard back from them. So at this point, during my next meeting with the manager, we'll bring up the subject again of just looking at an extension, because that's really what the land use policy department at MSU is saying, that our plan is viable. MML is saying the same thing, and so is NBC, to just do an extension on it instead of a full-fledged master plan.
So there
process.
isn't any question about, we want them to
How long is it?
guide us in this?
When you get an extension, how long is it good for?
I'm gonna have to look at that. I haven't had a chance to look at it, but it should be good for like 5 years. because we're only changing specific
Well, I think
components.
it does go for 5 years at a time.
Right.
So
So, that's why we were talking about the form-based zoning, we've talked about, they had mentioned the riverfront district being so large, you know, breaking it down a little bit. That was brought out on the master plan, so. Like I said, as I get more information and able to talk to Dr. Scorsoni from MSU and the director of the land use policy from Michigan State University, I will let you know.
One of the goals of this first initial meeting is to give everybody on these commissions and in this area an idea of what form-based zoning is. They're going to go into a little bit of detail as far as the specifics and what they would like to do to help us. And they want a lot of input from us too, as far as what we would like to see as far as form-based zoning goes. One of the goals of form-based zoning is to make a walkable community. One of the things that has been enforced in other areas, other cities that have form-based code, is that buildings, unlike Michigan Works or the new Family Dollar, is that the buildings would be more condensed and possibly go up a couple of stories.
we talked about
So
that.
to make it more workable and walkable, so that when you go down a street, instead of having one business in a block, you might have 6 or 8 in the same block. So that's one of the goals of form-based zoning.
Am
But
I
a lot
right?
of that is gonna be input from the Planning Commission, the Riverfront Commission.
But am I right? I think I am, that last year, the Riverfront Commission did the Riverfront Saginaw Plan. And in that, there was comment about doing form-based zoning, I think. Is that right? So this is,
It was part of the place plan initiative that was pushed out by Michigan Municipal Neighborhood Forest.
so this is taking that next step.
Yes, it's taking not just that grant that we got with them, but also the redevelopment ready certification that we're trying to achieve. Both of them address the issue of form-based zoning, and that's
Okay.
what we need to move towards. When we're looking at like the whole, it goes back to like the built environment, making it more walkable, more friendly, bringing people
Right.
downtown, this is what will be part of that. That was kind of the catalyst to move it towards that direction.
If you remember back a couple of years, we've had a couple of seminars and group discussions about placemaking and things like that. That all fits into this form-based code.
I have 2 other things under old business. Some time ago, we approved the party store on South Washington. Nothing has happened there yet. Do we have any update on?
Actually, I spoke with Lee Austin, the architect for that, today. The owner of the building, he's had second thoughts about it, and then he goes back and forth on it. He's talked to a builder. He's decided he has applied for a loan through the SEDC. I understand that a letter went out to him, and he didn't really respond back. I got a lot of the questions from that letter answered today. So Mr. Austin was going to go back down and push him one way or the other to decide what he's going to do at that site.
But just to point out the fact that SCDC is not going to do anything until everything's in order, because I mean, we're a lending agency, we
Sure.
just need to make sure things are, you know, MDOT's done what they're supposed to do, and that they have the
Sure.
proper approval from the planning
Right.
commission.
So he has to make up his mind first.
Yes.
Finally, on a happier note, I hope you all know that this Sunday afternoon, there is an open house at the condo development on the river that was done by the Chippewa Development Company. So you know how long we looked at that and waited for that to get approval, and it is, and it's up, and it's beautiful, and they're having open house Sunday afternoon. So I invite all of you too to go by and put your down payment on a condo. Do we have anything else to come before this meeting? If not, We adjourn.